Hi guys, it is Mr. Fed. Welcome back to the channel. Just thought I'd drop a quick video for discussion purposes, and that is the most disappointing album that I have personally ever listened to. You can probably tell from the thumbnail that that album is actually Metallica S&M2. Now, what I mean by most disappointing record, I do not mean the worst record I've ever listened to. This isn't the worst record I've ever listened to. It's the most disappointing record I've ever listened to in terms of myself probably setting my expectations too high and having them come crashingly low once I managed to wrap my ears around it. Now, if you can cast your imagination back to the year 1999, Mr. Fed was an 18-year-old. He was in college. He was just about to shoot himself off to university on the wave of Tony Blair's education speech. Back then, there was no readily available internet and there was no mobile phones. You got your information through Metal Hammer, you got it through Q Magazine, you got it through Rolling Stone, and you got it through word of mouth in and around your college dorm. So rumours quickly circulated in 1999 that Metallica were going to pair up with the San Francisco Symphony, headed by conductor Michael Kamen, and they were going to do a collaboration live album. Of course, at the time, Metallica were the biggest sort of thrash metal band in the world, really, and there were, it was curious. I mean, this has never been done before. How would a thrash metal band sound with a full orchestral backing score? In my head, I couldn't quite work my head around it. Anyway, ye of little faith, Metallica actually knocked it out of the park, and Metallica S&M1 to this day, 25 years on, remains one of the best live albums I've ever listened to. I could actually be standing on the surface of the sun listening to that record and it will still give me goosebumps, it would still give me chills, it would still make the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. So, fast forward 20 or so years, Metallica announced that they were going to do a follow-up. Now, you can imagine how excited I was about that announcement. I thought we were going to get 20 new Metallica songs that will go through and get the S&M treatment. I mean, it was still going to be with the San Francisco Symphony, obviously minus Michael Kamen, who sadly passed away in 2003. But I thought, we might get songs like my favourite Metallica song, like the Four Horsemen from Kill 'Em All. I thought, wow, that'd be great if that was given the S&M treatment. All the sort of possibilities. My imagination went wild with me. And of course, Metallica, since the first S&M record, they'd released 3 new studio albums. They released Saint Anger, they released Death Magnetic, which I thought was great, and they released Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Anyway, got hold of Metallica S&M2, stuck it in the CD player, and instantly my excitement and enthusiasm for this album dropped. And the main reason for that is the track selection. 10 songs from S&M1 were redone on S&M2. Now, I don't understand that thought process. I could probably get 4 songs, porting 4 songs which they did in S&M1 over to S&M2, but in no world in which I exist could they ever possibly redo 10 songs. I mean, essentially, the enthusiasm, the thunder, the precision, the crispness from Metallica S&M1, 25 years later on S&M2, it didn't feel like it was there, to be honest. It felt a little bit like they were going through the motions, that raw energy, it dropped a level. So essentially, when they redid these 10 songs from S&M1 and ported them over to S&M2, my thoughts were that they were just giving us crapper versions of songs that we already have. I just didn't understand why they chose to redo 10 songs. It just felt like, it started to feel like a cash grab exercise, really, where I guess Metallica picked up Michael Kamen's original orchestral reworking of these songs and slapped them in the chest of the new conductor and say, here, play these, because we can't really be bothered to learn any new songs, with you or the San Francisco Symphony. Off the new albums, we got 6 tracks. We got 1 off Saint Anger. We got 2 off Death Magnetic, which I'm quite disappointed about because I really like Death Magnetic. I think they could have plucked at least another song off of that. And we got 3 from Hardwire to Self-Destruct. Now, I am really grateful for those additional 6, new songs. But 6 new songs for me, it just simply wasn't enough in order to appease how much enthusiasm and how much I wanted this album to come out. And the other 3 or 4 tracks are made up by the San Francisco Symphony themselves. They do a sort of some solo renditions. So yeah, I mean, it was S&M2. After I finished listening to it, I think I just picked that CD out and tossed it over the other side of the room, and it probably landed in the trash, and that's where it probably remains. I was really, really quite angry and disappointed at it, really. That's not to say it's the worst album I've ever listened to. There are probably a whole generation of Metallica fans who were born after S&M1 was released. They might have not even listened to S&M1, and S&M2 might be their first experience of Metallica and the San Francisco Symphony, and they might think it's great, which is fine. It's all subjective. I'm just telling you this story from my own personal point of view. So Metallica S&M1 is still a live album that I listen to at maximum volume today. It's still one of my favourite live albums of all time. Metallica S&M2, the 10 repeat songs on it just do not warrant me deviating from the first record. And the fact, the 2 tracks from Death Magnetic and the 3 tracks from Hardwired to Self-Destruct, it's still difficult for me to pick up the record just to listen to those new tracks. There are 4 members of Metallica. I don't quite understand why one of them, because they're all responsible and all equal part in this band's output, I don't understand why one of them didn't say, maybe porting over 10 tracks from the first record was too many. But they didn't. We got what we got. So S&M2 is not an album I listen to a lot. I'm still enthralled with S&M1. So I'd love to know in the comments, what is your most disappointing record? And I don't mean worst. What is the record that you had high expectations for, but ultimately the release didn't meet your expectations? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.